What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today in this video, guys, we're going to talk about what you guys can do with the different amount of money you got. So if you got 50 bucks, 750 bucks, 2,000 bucks, 100,000 bucks, 10,000 bucks, we're going to talk about the different options that you have and which chains are probably going to be the best for you to play on. Obviously, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Crypto is just my girlfriend, and I just got nothing else to do. So I research this junk and figure this junk out. Anyways, guys, we're going to start with the bottom tier. First off is if you got 50 bucks. 50 bucks, in my opinion, is probably going to be your minimum you want to start with, because you got to get the funds on the chain, you got to bridge them, get everything set up. And I mean, 50 bucks, it's really not that, it's not worth it, but it's better than nothing. And it's a lot of fun to learn how the ecosystem works. There are a couple of chains you can go on with 50 bucks, and obviously these are not the only ones you can go on, but I'm going to use a couple of examples and explain why those are okay. The first one is CELO. The reason why I choose CELO is because CELO has ultra low gas fees. The amount of money you have to spend to get one CELO is like $6 right now. And to make one transaction, it's like 0.0000001 or like 3 CELO. It's like dirt, fractions of dirt. Same thing with xdai. Xdai, it's a $10 coin, and it's actually paid in xdai. Literally, xdai is a dollar stable coin, so you actually don't pay in the xdai stake coin. You actually pay in dollars, and it's actually like fractions of a penny. Super cheap. Same thing with Matic, same thing with Harmony One, and Solana, if you're doing a little bit of transactions, not a lot. Osmosis, because they have free transactions, and Kava, because they also have free transactions. Now, why, and Moon River as well. Now, why are those okay to use with $50 or less, or $50 or more? Well, the reason why is if you guys don't factor in transaction fees, even if they're 10 cents, 20 cents, and you're earning, let's say, 10% on your USDC, say you have, we'll just call it $100 even. If you're getting 10% on $100, that's going to be $10 for the whole year, as long as those APRs stay the same. So now let's factor this out. If it's $10 per year, well, let me go ahead and divide that by 365. When you divide that by 365, what do you basically you get 0.027 cents, or I'm sorry, 2.7 cents per day. So if your gas fees are eating up more than 2.7 cents per day, it's probably not going to be worth it. And even if it doesn't eat it all up and it equals just even, well, it's not worth the smart contract risk. So you want to go for gas fees that are lower. The reason why is because, well, if you're paying gas fees, the people who are going to make the nuts and ham are the miners who are validating your transactions. So that's how you can factor it out. A simple, quick, easy math algorithm you guys can do is all you do is you take the APYs. So say, for example, you deposit $50 into there and you figure out your APY is 10%. Well, you'd be making about 1.4 cents per day. So if your transaction is costing more than 1.4 cents to harvest it every single day, you don't even have to harvest it every single day. It's not worth it. Please factor that in when you guys are making transactions and going on these different chains. Now we're going to go to the medium sauce tier. Medium sauce is going to be like with $750 plus. Now the ones that are good for this are things like Fantom, Avalanche, with a caveat, there's an asterisk on Avalanche, is if you're not making a ton of transactions. Binance Smart Chain, same thing, with a caveat if you're not making a bunch of transactions. Sifchain, that's fine, you can go for that one. That one's like 10 cents a transaction, nothing crazy. You got Kava, they have free transactions on that, and they have minor transactions on there as well. And xprt, that one also has free transactions. That would be considered the mild sauce as well, so that one is a lot of fun, but you can't really play around with them when there's a lot of congestion. Good news is no one's really playing around on them, because Cosmos is like one of them sleepers. But hey, it is what it is. I'm fine with it. I'm farming it like nuts and ham. So the reason why Fantom, Avalanche, and Binance Smart Chain have an asterisk next to them for the amount of transactions you're going to make is because the transactions aren't virtually free at this point. Fantom transactions, depending on the what you're going to be doing, it could be between 8 cents or actually about 2 cents to about 20 cents. Now, if you guys are dealing with $50, well, that is the amount you make per day. You make 2.7, no, I'm sorry, you make 1.4 cents per day. So it makes no sense because you got to make an approval, you got to make a deposit, and then when it's deposited into, you got to claim it. It's just going to eat into the profits, and it's not worth it. Obviously, that's factoring in if the APRs are 10%. Now, if you got $750, well, how much are you making per day? Let's calculate that. So at the 750 tier, you're probably going to be making about 20 cents per day. I guess I could have just calculated that. That was pretty easy. But how you'd calculate it is you would do the $750 and say it's 10%. You do by times 0.1. Why 0.1? Well, because it's 10%. That's just factoring in if the APY/APR is actually if the APR is 10%, because the APY factors in that you're compounding it. So APR has to be 10%. So if you do 750 times 0.1, that's going to give you 75, and now you divide that by 365, and well, what do you get? You get 0.205. So that means you get 20 cents per day. So Fantom, that's okay. You can go for it. Just make sure you limit your transactions, because some of those transactions are going to be about 8 to 9 cents. And if that does that, well, it's eating into your profits. What's the point of yield farming and wasting your time and getting that anxiety up? It's not worth it. However, with Avalanche, sometimes those transaction fees can be up to like 50, 60 cents, sometimes even more. So, probably not there. Maybe if you just make a transaction, set it, forget it, come back like 2 weeks later or a week later and play around with it there. Because do you want to pay the miners or pay yourself? Factor that in. Next is Binance Smart Chain. Some of those factor about 70 cents to $1. So be very careful with those. They are a little bit less for like Pancake Swap. Pancake Swap is a lot less for a swap, but still, if you're depositing into like an auto compounding vault, you gotta factor that in. You can also take advantage of the auto compounders, but make sure you limit your transactions and factor that in. And also, same thing with sifchain. Those transactions are about 10 cents a pop as well. Now for the Fire Sauce Club, this is going to be for $2,000 plus, and there is an asterisk next to this. Not a lot of transactions. You do not want to make a lot of transactions on these chains because they are going to eat into your profit. The first one is Arbitrum and Optimism. You can go on this chain with over $2,000 plus, but be very, very, very careful, because if you're making a transaction approval, deposit, withdrawal, claim, it's like $1 every single transaction. And on $2,000, let's just call it 10% again. Let's factor this in. $2,000 times 10, or 0.1, that's going to give us $200. Now what's $200 divided by 365? Well, that's going to be about 50 cents a day. If you're paying $1 every single transaction, it's not worth it. So, I mean, at that point, you basically have to yield farm for 2 days straight, as long as the coin doesn't dump in value either, and you will be able to break even. So, no, it's not worth it. Terra Luna, maybe. Some of those transactions are like 30 cents, but if you're depositing into like a yield farm or anchor vaults, those are going to cost you like $1.60. So still factor that in. If you're going to make the deposit, just sit it, forget it. This is not one of those things you want to mess around with and yield farm. Obviously, the numbers I'm giving you is factoring in if it's just 10% APR, not APY. Same thing with Secret Network. Secret Network's going to set you back about 60 cents, 50 cents a transaction. Same thing there. Be very careful. Don't make a lot of transactions. Don't pay the miner, pay yourselves. Fourth is Diablo. Diablo is going to be $6,000, $7,000 plus, maybe even $10,000 plus. This is going to be things like your Ethereum. Bitcoin, you can't really do DeFi on it, but Bitcoin is just going to be like, hey, you send some money to someone, have some fun. But this is for like $10,000 plus. Secret Network, same thing, and Arbitrum and Optimism. With $10,000 plus, with Arbitrum and Optimism, be a little less frugal. You can kind of play around a little more with $10,000, but still it's going to eat into your profits. Factor in that it's just like $1 every transaction. On $10,000 at 10% APR, that's going to be earning you like $2.50 a day or $2 a day. So that allows you 2 free transactions every day. So it's not like Polygon. You go claim, withdraw, bop, 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 bop. No, take advantage of your auto compounders and take advantage of non-Ponzi farms. The reason why I say non-Ponzi is because every time there's a Ponzi farm, you basically got to withdraw out of it and make all those transactions, and you got to watch that farm every second. You got to claim it every like 6 hours to sell it because the coin's just going to dump in price. So Diablo is going to be like your Ethereum, your Bitcoin, Arbitrum, Optimism, or things like Secret Network, because the transaction fees are a little bit higher. So that is something to factor in. Hope that helped with you guys. Trying to figure out which farms you guys should go on, depending on the amount of money that you have and the amount of money you're going to play around with in DeFi. And let's go ahead and leave you guys with a wisdom one-liner. Proverbs 17 verses 24. A discerning person keeps wisdom in view, but a fool's eyes wander to the ends of the earth. That's so true, man. Look for wisdom. That's all you got to seek. Y'all guys can also catch me on tweeters. It's at rent a home fast, like literally at rent a home fast.